What's up, guys? It's Lou from Unbox Therapy, and today I've got a really exciting video for you. What you're looking at is a 4K television from Sony. If you're unfamiliar with this business, that means you're looking at 3840 by 2160 pixels, way beyond the resolution of 1080p. This is the future you're looking at, folks. The exact model is the XBR65X900A. Of course, the 6.5 stands for 65 inches. This is a 65-inch display, so a fairly nice size to go with that awesome resolution. But this is a little bit wider. The box is huge, and the reason for that is because there are also speakers on each side of the display, and these speakers are actually pretty good. You're looking at 65 watts each, and there's even a little subwoofer built in to give you a little bit more low end than you'd expect to get out of a flat panel's built-in audio. So you can have that minimal look, get this thing mounted up on your wall, and not have such a need to go out and get an aftermarket audio solution, because this one has some decent speakers built into it. So as you guys can tell, this is a huge box, and that means I've got to do a slightly different style of unboxing video. This is not going to fit on your usual table. So instead here, I'm going to go ahead and remove the loose components first, including some 3D glasses. Yes, this display supports 3D, passive 3D, and the glasses are really light and really comfortable to wear. Of course, you can have eyeglasses underneath them if you need to wear eyeglasses. There's a couple of remotes included. I think the reason for that is one is just a little bit more minimal, a little bit more simplistic and smaller, whereas the other one is more full-featured. And something I like on this remote is the dedicated Netflix button. I think that's a cool addition. Both remotes look really nice, and I can't really complain having an extra one because, you know, these things get misplaced from time to time, and nobody likes that. Getting back to the display, as I try to get it out of the box here, I do want to say a little bit about it. It is an LED display in terms of technology, and it does have local dimming, so you are getting, you know, high-end specs everywhere else, besides the fact that it happens to be a 4K display. Getting it set up is actually pretty easy to do, just like any other flat panel. Even if this one happens to be a little bit bigger, a little bit wider, you just have to line it up on the base and then go ahead and screw the base in, and then you're ready to install it wherever it is that you want to put it. You will need a fairly large space for a 65-inch. This thing is fairly imposing, so you can watch me here struggle with some of the packaging. These are never really that elegant to unbox, but I think it's interesting nonetheless to take a look at what you do when you get something like this at your house. This is a little cover piece for the back. After you get the base installed, you can use that piece to cover up some of the hardware. Here's a closer look at the base, and it is circular, and it has like a chrome-plated finish, so it should fit into any high-end environment if you choose not to mount the thing on the wall. You're going to need to install these 4 screws into the back of the television. That's what secures it to the base. You're going to want to make sure it's secure. This is not a cheap television. This is actually a good time to mention, if you guys are interested in checking out this TV for yourself, if you want to see more specs, if you want to see pricing and availability, I will have links down in the description, including a link to Future Shop. I want to give them a big shout out, especially the Yonge and Dundas location, for allowing me to play around with this thing, even though it is such an expensive and new technology. The back of the display features all of the ports and inputs that you would expect to have on a high-end television, including a bunch of HDMIs, a cable/antenna input. You've got component input, composite, so all your analog stuff that you may or may not want to use. You have an internet port, even though you don't need to use that LAN. You can use Wi-Fi since the TV does have it if you prefer to go that route. You've got optical in. You have a special HDMI that supports the MHL protocol. What that means, you can connect mobile devices like your phone or tablet or anything that supports that, and then you can put your display from that mobile device up onto the larger screen. So anyways, here you can see a nerve-wracking experience of us lining it up onto this little stand. I want to give big props to Kirk for helping me out on doing that. Give him a thumbs up down below for jumping into the video. But as you can see, this is a beautiful looking display. You know, there's going to be sort of mixed feelings on the speakers on the side for people, whether or not that's something they want to add on their own or if they like the integrated look. I'm personally a fan of it. I think having them there is a positive thing. It means you can mount this up on the wall in a minimal fashion and not really feel the need to have some third-party solution to go with it. It can just look really elegant and really simple. And a lot of people end up with these flat panels in their houses and they don't put external audio on there anyways. So this is definitely a step in the right direction in terms of improving the vast majority of people's audio. Anyways, let's talk about the image. That's the main thing here. I had a limited amount of 4K content that I could actually look at. There's really only the in-TV demo, which was some still images, and it's very hard to portray to you in this video exactly what 4K looks like if you haven't seen it in person. And of course, you're not watching this video in 4K, but this was making us just giddy as hell. We were laughing our heads off. We were just so happy seeing this in person because the detail is unfriggin' believable. I was trying to get my lens to pick it up, as you can see in that shot of the strawberries there. But a lot of what people are going to be doing with these TVs, at least in the short term, is using them for 1080p content, for Blu-rays and whatnot, because there's just not a lot of 4K content available, including the fact that game consoles don't output 4K. So here you can see the 1080p trailer for Spider-Man, the latest Spider-Man, and the upscaling is actually pretty impressive. Sony's using something called the X Reality Pro picture engine, and that's what's going to upscale your 1080p coverage, footage, whatever you want to call it, up into 4K. Now, we had different results depending on what we were doing. The Spider-Man trailer, for example, looked really good. Games, not so much. I had a limited selection of games to try out, but they didn't look that great. In fact, they kind of looked maybe even a little bit worse than just on a 1080p display, probably because of all that conversion that's happening. Granted, we are sitting only a couple of feet from it, so maybe I was being, a little bit more critical than I would normally be. But the whole intent here is to get stuff that's going to eventually support 4K resolution, and then you can really start to take advantage of these 4K TVs. Anyways, very impressive nonetheless. I can't wait until these things become the standard and I get one in my own house. Very, very cool to get a chance to look at. If you guys are interested in pricing and availability, once again, the links are down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a thumbs up. It does help out a bunch. And other than that, I will catch you guys on the next video. Later.
No.